debt, fear, relationships, the children, your health, work. When you want to give up and you need courage to continue, take heart and stay tuned as R.J. Jackson writes her signature message of hope on your heart. You don't have to live where you're dying, and you don't have to die where you're living. Like every show of Conversations on Courage, you'll be informed, inspired, and encouraged to find the courage you need to succeed at home, work, and in your business. Get your pen and paper. You'll want to take notes. And now, your host, R.J. Jackson, the Courage Giver.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations on Courage. I am your host, R.J. Jackson, the Courage Giver, and today's show is brought to you by Worldwide Women Speakers of worldwidewomenspeakers.com. We're excited today, as we are always excited, to be with you and have you join us for this amazing conversation on courage today. Want to remind you, this is episode number 1. That's right, because this is the one you need to listen to, and this is the one that we have prepared with you in mind. We want to invite you, go ahead, grab your pen, grab your paper, take some notes, but don't forget, take notes on your heart so that you can take action. It's one thing to listen, it's another thing to learn, but it's amazing when we take what we've heard and what we've learned and we apply it to live our best life ever. You're going to want to do that today because we have a guest that's going to help you do just that, especially if you are an aspiring or professional speaker. You want to take notes. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to tell you about our guest today. She is amazing. She is out there serving people. And as I often tell you, if you're not serving someone, if you're not lifting other people up, if you're a leader, you need, number one, we need to have people behind us. And number two, we should be helping people be greater than who we are, because that is what a leader does. Matter of fact, Miss Shelley Harrison, our special featured guest today from Luminary Leaders, she is the CEO. And at Luminary Leaders, they place their reputation in the industry to the highest standards to serve their clients, not only their clients, their affiliates, and their vendors. They make sure the value they bring lifts them up to their greatness. They provide everything they need in business to work in the 5 areas of marketing, branding, growth, finances, administration, sales, and operation. If you're a speaker today, I invite you to stay connected to hear of the greatness from Miss Shelley. If you would be so kind, while you're here with me today, let's take a moment and just simply welcome Miss Shelley today to our conversation on courage. Hello, Shelley. Welcome to the conversation here on Conversation on Courage this morning. Thank you for being with us. How are you?
Hello, RJ. Thank you so much. I'm doing fantastic, and I just love the introduction that you just did, and thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation to have this conversation with you.
I'm excited about it, and that introduction is just simply authentically true. It's authentically you, and I love authentic people, just down-to-earth, real people. So let's just continue by having a down-to-earth, real conversation. How about that?
I love that. Let's do it.
All right. So I started off talking about leaders, and that's who you are, Shelley. You're a leader. Your company represents leaders. So what's your story? Tell us your story and how you got where you are and your mission of why you are where you are.
Sure. Thank you, RJ. Well, my story probably started many, many years ago when I was a young girl. When I was a little girl, I can remember I grew up in Long Beach, California, so I'm sure a lot of folks know where Long Beach is. And I used to play in my room. I would play, just like school. I would be using my stuffed animals and talking to my stuffed animals. I would play bank, so I would use Monopoly money, and I would, get some different types of stamps and things to play bank with and use my mom's checks. And from that point on, I knew that, my gosh, I just love, kind of the business aspect of things because I was doing it at a very early age. So when I started my career, I was actually in the banking industry, and I stayed there for probably about 26 years. So I, as you can imagine, I really developed a lot of skills. I was able to work with a lot of different types of business owners, people, families. So it was a very, very diverse opportunity for me to be able to emerge myself in learning and helping people. So, and in the same token, managing. So I started managing when I was 26 years old, when I managed my first banking location. So then from there on, I had a wonderful career, and it came to an end after 26 years, and I found myself with many others who were given a severance package. So I thought, well, this is where I'm going to start my second chapter. And I ended up going into the mortgage business for a short period of time after I was given a severance package. I took a 1-year sabbatical and just kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do. So I went in the mortgage business, and I was a sales manager. And from that point, I met a very special realtor who, her and I became very good friends. In fact, I was on her radio show too several years ago. And she and I, we connected on a great level, and it happened to be on a Sunday when after I had left the mortgage industry, because I was probably in it for almost a year, and I left the mortgage industry because I thought, this isn't quite what I want to do, and I couldn't put my finger on it. So on a Sunday, I received a text from this realtor who's a very good friend. Sabrina Allen is her name. And she said, Shelley, I'm going to a book signing today. Would you like me to, share with this person that you're available and you might be able to help her with her book launch? And I thought, okay, well, let's see. Let me take a look and see what I could do for her. So that day, Sabrina went to the book signing, and I received a text that evening, a text message back from her saying that this person would like to meet me. And we ended up meeting the following Tuesday, and the person's name is Tanya Brown. She's the youngest sister to Nicole Brown Simpson. And I think a lot of people know that story. So we had that meeting, and we had a wonderful meeting, actually, and I started working with her and representing Tanya as her publicist. And I think as you can imagine, it was a wonderful experience, and Tanya's a phenomenal woman, and she's doing a lot of things to help others as well. So after about 2 years working together, and even before this, people were kind of noticing, what I was doing through social media and just all of the events that I had attended, and friends that, I was having coffee with friends, and they were kind of curious as to what I was doing since, I had left the corporate world. So that's when my business kind of took shape in terms of attracting different speakers and authors and public figures. And here we are today, almost 5 years later.
Wow, what an amazing story. Absolutely filled with so many lessons that we can learn as individuals. I want to talk about some of them and speak to some of them. So I want to go back to what you labeled chapter 1. When you were a little girl, oh my gosh, growing up in Long Beach, playing bank with your stuffed animals. And I want to speak to women and mothers right now who are listening, because that's such a powerful lesson right there. Let your little girls play and dream. So often as mothers, we stifle their ability to be creative and to invent and start a dream, because we're like, don't touch that, leave that alone. But you were playing with your mother's checks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How amazingly awesome is that? So that's lesson number 1 I heard you speak of from your story. And so thank you so much for sharing that chapter 1. And chapter 1 in our life is always important. It is the foundation.
It truly is. Absolutely.
Yes,
it's what
foundation.
forms us for the future. Yeah.
Yes. And with that being said, Shelley, I'm going to come to chapter 2 in just a moment. But speak to that for just a second. Chapter 1 in our lives, like what words of encouragement can you share with us about chapter 1?
Chapter 1 is, in my experience, learn as much as you possibly can and be open to possibilities. And, you can say yes within reason. You have to use good judgment. There's times where I said yes to opportunities where I thought, why did I just do that? And it led to a bigger opportunity. So sometimes, when we're really young, and, in terms of when I started my career in the banking industry, I was only 19. So when I said yes to that, I thought, what am I getting myself into? Because I've never handled money. And, here I think, wait a minute, I kind of did when I was playing with Monopoly money, but now it's real money. So it was just kind of that, going through and realizing, reflecting now when I look at myself, my younger self, I think, you know what, this is really what formulated what I'm doing today. So women out there and men, if they're starting their first chapter, soak up as much as you can and be open to mentors and people that want to help you in your journey, and especially if they're people that are in higher places that can give you, that are just people that have been, whether they're an executive or, someone in the church or, a best friend who's been very successful. Be open-minded.
Chapter 1, be open-minded. And in order to be open-minded, you've got to have courage. It's like no way around it. And I heard you say, like, whoa, I was 19 wondering, what in the world am I doing? This is, like, scary. And I know that chapter 1 offers a lot of fear, but we have to be willing to press past our fear, embrace our courage, and step out on faith and go with what's inside of us. And you proved at the age of 19 there's something great inside of you. That was a great lesson. Wow. That was a great lesson, Shelley.
Oh, thank you, RJ. Yeah, and just growing up, I'm Italian, so I grew up in a very loud household. And my grandfather, I can remember him saying, children should be seen and not heard. So as you can imagine, I was kind of quiet. I was not the very loud vocal person in the room. In fact, I was probably the shy one in the back that, just was hoping that nobody would come up and want to talk with me. So later in life, when I was in the banking industry and I had, when I mentioned a mentor earlier, I had a very wonderful mentor who was an executive in the banking industry and saw something in me. And she said to me one day, she goes, Shelley, you are quiet but mighty. And that's where I thought, my goodness, you know what? She just pegged me.
And it's amazing how people can see inside of us what we can't see inside of ourselves. And it takes that mentor, it takes that leader, as you said earlier, to pull that out and to help us go there where we need to go because we can't see it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. And if you really kind of look at this where, I was that quiet young woman, and even getting in front of a group and speaking, I had a really not a very good experience when I think I was probably 21, and I had to do a presentation, completely prepared for it. I knew the material inside and out, and I had to give a presentation. Well, the regional manager decided to come in and listen to my presentation, and of course, I couldn't even speak. I was shaking and I was sweaty, and it was a bad experience. So fast forward, here I am representing, some of the most world-class speakers and presenters, where I'm helping them and I'm consulting with them, and and I'm even more so now more comfortable with my own ability to get in front of a group and speak, where I'm building up my confidence. But it's taken years to do that.
What you just shared is a perfect example for me to remind those who are listening. Your story is a part of your purpose. There's no way around it. I love, Shelley, how you shared. Like, I was the timid one, the quiet one, the one who was afraid to speak. Now, look at me. Because where we come from and what we experience becomes the mold and the canister in which we can create and live life out of purpose. Thank you for reminding us of that. Let's just fast forward a little bit, go to chapter 2 in your story and learn some more important lessons that you're sharing with us today. You talked about at age 26, you were in the banking industry, and then all of a sudden it came to an end.
Yes.
And I'm confident that there are people right now who are listening. They were on a job. They had their business booming. They were in school learning, and then all of a sudden life happened and things came to an end. How did you feel? How did you press past that to get to the next step? And what would you suggest we do when life happens to keep moving forward?
Yes, and thank you for asking that, RJ. And it did literally come to a screeching halt, because I really thought that banking completed me. And I was trying to balance as a wife, a mother, a vice president in the bank, and I would come home, and it was getting to that point of I was not very happy in terms of just the pressure and the goals and a lot of the responsibilities that I had, and not really being valued or appreciated for the work I did, or the work that my team was doing, which, I was managing. So when this came to a stop, and all of a sudden I realized I go back to my two very good friends. My best friend was one of them, and I had gone to, the meeting where my job ended, and I came out of that meeting, and I didn't cry. I was, kind of in shock, and I knew that my best friend was getting her hair done with a very good friend at a nearby salon. I walked into that salon, and both of them kind of looked at me, and it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, "Shelley, what are you doing here? You should be at work." And I just looked at them, and I said, "I lost my job." And both of them started jumping up and like, "Oh my God," they were so happy, because they're like, "Now you could do what you want." But I was thinking, wait a minute, I just lost my job. So from that point, and now I look back and I think, what, they were so right, because the journey ahead was going to be so fantastic and fun. Had a few bumps in the way, and it takes time to rebuild, because I had to get past the point of I'm not a banker anymore, and this is not who I am. I'm a woman who is going to be looking to help other women and kind of get into, what it is that I want to do, follow my passion. And my husband is so supportive. Michael is his name, and I'll tell you, he is the backbone of my business, my soulmate, and just very supportive of the progress that we've made with Luminary Leaders. So, going through that, and my kids too. I have some wonderful children, and they're very supportive too. So all of us, just pulling through this and staying on that path of serving others and helping others. And even speakers, to this day, I have speakers who will reach out to me that maybe they're, brand new to the industry, and I don't turn them away. I want to talk with them. I want to give them guidance. I want to kind of give them a few things, pointers and tips that they can, be that much quicker at getting to their goal of what they'd like to do. Because chances are they're going to come back to me, when they are out there and, have built their business, and they might come back and want to work with us. So, and not that I do it for that reason. I do it because I know I can help them, and I could put them in the direction where they're going to be successful and not be in a position to, to fail or to become discouraged. I want to encourage, and particularly women, because I think, women, we multitask so much, and it's important for women to know how much they're valued, and all of the wonderful things the gifts and talents that we have, that we could give to others, or we can collaborate with other women and support each other.
You're listening to Conversations on Courage with your host, R.J. Jackson, the Courage Giver. Quick, call your friends and invite them to listen in.
And that's what women are supposed to do, Shelley. We're supposed to support, uplift, and encourage one another. And I just want to encourage someone who's listening right now based on what you said when you were sharing your story. And I want to remind you, if you're listening today, you are not your circumstance. You are not your job. You are not your car, the car you drive. You are amazing, and there's greatness inside of you, and the world is waiting for you to show up and share your greatness. Shelley, you talked about it came to an end, but at the end of everything is always a new beginning and a new chapter. So let's talk about the next chapter of your life where you did get to go and do exactly what your friend said, do what you love, and share your passion with the world. You created a company, Luminary Leaders. Let's talk about Luminary Leaders. Let's talk about your passion, your mission. Tell us about it. Tell us about what you do.
Absolutely. So with Luminary Leaders, we have the opportunity to support and provide services for speakers, authors, public figures, people that, and I also have an indie pop band that we represent as well. They're from the UK. In fact, they're back in the UK right now. They'll be back in September for an event that we're doing. So with the clients that we represent, we provide full representation. So we help them with their branding, their marketing, their social media. We outsource some of it. So, we don't have, for example, we want to make sure that, that we have all those areas covered that speakers have the need for. We also work with affiliates that we have a film crew that we have that work with us, and we've done some extraordinary work. I've produced a music video with one of our clients. So it's really kind of diverse what we're able to offer speakers. And I think a lot of folks out there that know us, that know Luminary Leaders, or they've had our speakers out there, we're not just a speakers agency. We actually go kind of beyond that. And I'm not knocking any other speakers agencies out there, but I think we have a special niche where the other agencies, they do a wonderful job and they, help speakers to find, speaking engagements and opportunities. And with Luminary Leaders, we're more on the side of engaging with that particular speaker. Every speaker that we work with, it's a customized relationship where we are working with them in tandem, and we are supporting them in terms of any facet of what they do when it comes to putting them on stage, whether it's a PowerPoint, reviewing the PowerPoint or making recommendations, or pre- and post-planning of their events that we have them scheduled for, or maybe they've done on their own, but they call and, they need some guidance. We also help them with, trying to help them with their packaging of their services. So if the pricing needs to be adjusted, then we have some conversation about it. We really take a look at it to make sure it's competitive and favorable for those that might be interested in their services. So it's kind of, and we also work with radio too. So we arrange to have clients on podcasts and radio shows like yours, where we do a lot of promotion around them as well. So if we have a client that's scheduled for a podcast or a talk radio show, we'll do the promoting on social media platforms and make sure that folks know to listen in. And then also with magazine, we are really very pleased to be working with West Coast Magazine, which is out of the Inland Empire as well as some parts of Orange County. So we have an opportunity to provide wonderful articles for West Coast Magazine through our Luminary Leader clients.
So you're a game changer. You're out there getting underneath speakers, reminding them that there's greatness inside of them, helping them move from one level or one chapter to another.
I love that. Game changer is absolutely how I feel when we're working with our clients. We want to be on the cutting edge and be relentless about making sure that people know how wonderful the speakers are that we work with, because they're vetted speakers, meaning I go through that dialogue with them and qualify the folks that we represent to ensure that that they have a powerful message, that their story is transformational, or that their expertise is second to none, to where they're going to help business owners, or they're going to help people with their career development. We also represent Productive Learning, which is out of Capistrano Beach, and they do an extraordinary job of training, and I'm helping them to get the word out, and that's part of what our working relationship is with the types of clients that we work with.
Let's talk about being a speaker on call. So as a speaker, aspiring speaker, professional speaker, what are the qualifications, if I may use that word, or what is it that speakers need to know in order to work with you and your company?
Of course. Thank you, RJ. And really, to work with us, we can work really at any stage that a speaker, wherever they happen to be within their career. So if it's a brand new person that may be an author that just published their first book and they want to, get out and speak, we work with them. So we'll consult with them. We help them with their book launch. And in terms of more seasoned speakers, what we're really looking for when we represent a client, full representation, is that they, number one, that they have the capability to be an effective and I keep using the word transformational, but I mean that's one of the heavy words that I think is useful in talking with an audience. So speakers who have a following on social media, and if they don't have very much of a following, then we help them to build that to where they'll have more followers on Instagram, Facebook, and we do that by virtue of if a client is on a radio show, and maybe the radio show is with a host who has thousands of followers, we will make sure that we really hone in on that to maximize that for our client as well as the host, to give them some visibility too. So as far as qualifying for working with luminary leaders, I am open to working with, different folks that have the need to have someone supporting or helping them.
And there's that word again, supporting and serving. I honestly absolutely love it when a business says we support you and we make it about you. I know there are women or people who are listening, and I keep referring to women because that's our target audience, but I know there are people listening who are saying, I could use that service. I need that. But I'm like, am I qualified? Am I ready? So it takes courage, which we talked about before. So, Shelly, share with us some words of courage for those who are listening that can help them move from chapter 1 to chapter 2 in their life. What words of courage would you share with them today?
Sure. And I believe, and I want to encourage those to be unstoppable, be open to possibilities, and stay focused on their mission. If they have something that they're passionate about, don't give up. Continue to wake up in the morning and, appreciate every day that you're here, and just go out and get what you want. Anything is possible, actually there's a saying, and it's my father-in-law. He says, you can have anything in life that you want, just not all at one time. And if you think about that, it's possible because you could work towards something that you want, but maybe not today. It's going to take time to achieve it. So I'll leave you with that.
So I say, go get it. It's waiting
go get
for
it.
you.
Go get it.
Go get it. It's waiting for you. What great words of encouragement to remind us that we don't have to live where we're dying. And as I always say, we don't have to die where we're living. So what's next for you, and how can people connect with you and partner with you in your greatness?
Oh, that's terrific. Well, I'll tell you what's next is I do have 2 events that we're working on that I would love to invite a lot of your listeners to consider. All Women Rock, which is going to be October 14th, and Mother and Daughter Tea, which is September 23rd. Both events are going to be held at the Ontario Airport Hotel in Ontario, and this is through C.D. Wilson Events. So I'm very pleased to be working on these 2 events, and they're just going to be powerful. And then to connect with luminary leaders, we're at luminaryspeakers.com, and as far as, all of our information can be found there, as well as links to our Facebook and other social media platforms.
If you missed it, you can always find it on our website, conversationsoncourage.com. Shelly, it's been an amazing conversation, one of growth, one of encouragement and transformation. So you did not use that word in vain. You use that word because that's what you provide people with, an opportunity to transform their life. And people are looking for that and needing that. So thank you so much for sharing with us your passion, your story, and how we can learn lessons to help move us from one chapter to another. Is there any final words you'd like to share?
No, this has been wonderful, RJ. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to helping others out there, and I know that this particular radio show that you have or podcast it's wonderful, and I think you're doing a great job giving others encouragement, so keep it up.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your encouragement and your inspiration today. And thank you, our listening audience, for being with us today. Listen, we know the truth. We're nothing without you. You're a game changer as well. There's greatness inside of you, and the world is waiting for you to show up. We want to help you. We want to remind you that you are never alone. So we invite you to stay connected. Make sure you tune in again, same time next week for more conversations on courage.
Thank you for joining us for Conversations on Courage. Now that you've been inspired, informed, and encouraged, it's time for you to take action. So head on over to thecouragegiver.com. That's thecouragegiver.com, and connect with RJ for a personal conversation on courage. She's waiting to help you take the risk you need to succeed.